exboxeador Félix Verdejo recibió una sentencia de 2 cadenas perpetuas.
Many might wonder how a young, successful future world champion from Puerto Rico could end up like this. What began as an ordinary morning of training turned into a nightmare, not just for both families, but for the entire island. The secrets that will be revealed will shake not only Puerto Rico, but also the United States. In this special episode, we will hear from someone who was with Felix Verdejo on the morning of April 29th, 2021. In this trial, which lasted 25 days, 40 witnesses sat on the witness stand. 31 by the prosecutor's office and 9 by Verdejo's lawyers. One of them was Cruz Manuel Garcia Figueroa, known as Pensa, 65 years old. Physical trainer since 1974 when he started as an athlete coach. 2024 makes 50 years in his profession. He was a coach of world champions such as Tito Trinidad, Alex El Nene Sánchez, Nelson Diepa, among others. Pensa trained Felix for 7 years. Pensa testified twice. The first time was by the prosecutor's office on the 5th day of the trial. The second time, he witnessed the defense of the former boxer. What did he think of the verdict? What were the words he said, face-to-face to Verdejo the 2 times he testified in court? How was living with Felix when they were quartered before a fight? How were the phone conversations between Felix, Keishla, and Elis Marie? How did the ex-boxer react every time they were going to give him an injection as part of the physical preparation? What did he feel like doing so soon as he saw Verdejo in the defendant's chair? Did the experience in the trial change his life and affected him emotionally to the point that he still can't sleep well? In this exclusive interview, you will know all the details of what he did with Verdejo on April 29th, 2021, the day Keishla disappeared and what happened afterwards. Details that he did not tell in the trial.
One afternoon, I had to go to the offices of a well-known compulsory car insurance company, and the lady who attended me was Madeline, Verdejo's mom. We said hello, and she told me that her son is a boxer and wanted me to help him improve his physical condition. When I got home, I told my wife that I could help Verdejo with that since he was getting a little tired at the end of the fights. One Sunday, while in my bed talking to my wife, Ricky Marquez, Felix's coach at the time, called me. He asked me to meet with him to help Verdejo. We got together and I worked with him for 6 fights until the last one he had. He was very talented, he was very feverish. I thought he would be a millionaire. A solid champion. That day was normal in Central Park where we trained. He always arrived between 5 and 5:30. He arrived at about 5:20 a.m. We did a warm-up, a stretch, and some 800-meter repetitions. When he finished his work, he did a cool-down. I have a club of seniors who run marathons and everything. Felix was like the club's mascot. He ran with each of them. He stayed for about an hour and spent time with all of us until 7:30 a.m. I was leaving that weekend for the United States since a Cuban boxer I trained was fighting, Robesi Ramirez, who is currently world champion. Verdejo sponsored him, helped him financially, and he was going to send him some money, and he was going to give it to me at 10 in the morning that same day. The money consisted of part of what he paid me for my services and part for Robesi. Verdejo found out that he wanted to focus on training, and Felix gave him a hand. He told me, "You call me at about 10 to give you the shaylee," as he called money, "when you stop by my house." We walked to the parking lot. My car was parked behind his car. He got in his car and left. I got in my car and left. At 10 in the morning, I called him, but he didn't answer me. It was $500 for me and $2,000 for Robesi. There were other people that were going to work with Robesi, and that money was for the expense of preparation, food, vitamins. Verdejo lent it to him with the objective that he would later pay him back. Felix was always a generous, cooperative guy. He stopped eating for another.
Primero que nada, por darme la oportunidad de estar con personas, ¿verdad?, que le hacen el bien a los demás. Estamos aquí apoyando, llevándole alimentos a esas personas, ¿verdad?, que están sin hogares y sin familia, muchos de ellos. Y nada, pues la Biblia lo dice, que ayudemos al prójimo, le demos la mano y nada, estoy contento, estoy sacando de mi tiempo de entrenamiento para hacer esta bonita actuación, ¿verdad?, para otras personas.
One day in Thanksgiving, there was a turkey left. It was a lot, and there were only 4 of us who were living together. He told me, "Pensa, tomorrow we're going to break the diet. You make the potato salad that you always make. I will make the turkey." We prayed since Felix is a man of God. Every now and then, he scolded me and read passages from the Bible. That same day at about 11, a lawyer called me who is also a boxing handler, who looks for fights. He was director of tourism. I don't remember his name. He called me in a panic. He tells me, "Pensa, did Felix train with you this morning?" I said yes, and what had happened. He tells me that they were looking for Felix, that a girl who was pregnant had disappeared. I told him, "Really?" I didn't know. I didn't think he would be involved in that. Since it was so normal that day, we were going to see each other at 10 in the morning. No, of course not. I knew about Felix's relationship with Keishla, although I didn't know her. When we were housed, we lived in the same house for 2 months together. We are a family. The calls I heard from Felix with her were from flirting and things like that. They spoke normally. Once or twice, Keishla herself told me on the phone to tell Felix to go to bed early so that he could rest, not to call her so late so that he would get up to do his training work. She took care of him in that part. Felix spoke very well of her all the time. Even when he called Elise, he treated her just as good. I can never tell you that he was able to do such a thing. On my holy mother, I don't think he's capable. No, but in training, he sometimes told me they kicked me out, but sometimes they would let him come back. But nothing messy. He is very open with me and never said anything to me. I imagined that they were going to schedule me since I was with Felix early that day, and so I was. The FBI came to my house. They asked me like 1,000 questions. They stayed for an hour. I told them the truth, no problem. They asked me for my phone, and I handed it to them, even though I knew that an order was required for that, but I gave it to them since I have nothing to hide. They checked my calls, corroborated the hours I had told them. Then they left. Later, they came in a black truck to my house. I wasn't there. I told them where I was, and they went there to locate me at Home Depot in Rexville. The appointment was to see the prosecutors. After I went to testify with the prosecutors at the trial, Madeline's mom, Felix's mom, called me to tell me that Verdejo's lawyer, Gabriela Chintron, was looking for me. I called her and coordinated an appointment to meet with lawyer Jason Gonzalez. It was the first time in my life that I entered a court. To testify, much less. I didn't see Felix when I came in. I entered panic, scared. When they asked me to identify him in the room, I looked for him and he was on my right. I felt sad when I saw him. I just wanted to run to him and hug him, squeeze him and kiss him. When I was about to leave in the end, I got a little closer to him in front of him and said, "I love you." He answered me with his eyes, but not with his mouth. The second time I testified, I told him the same thing. "I love you." He looked at me and lowered his head. I never thought Felix was capable of something like that. I won't say it offensively, but Verdejo was soft. In the fights, we got angry because when he had the other guy dazed, he didn't finish him off. The only 2 fights he lost was for not using his intelligence, for panicking. He lacked bravery to be the champion he could have been. It was true. The times we had to give him vitamin injections, it was a big mess. Everything she said was true. I expected him to come out not guilty. It was unfair. The jury said whatever. Because the judge was pressuring them, he even called them dumb. I'm sure they will appeal in Boston and go to a new trial with a different jury and other witnesses. It transpired that he had his phone cloned. In all the evidence they presented, Verdejo is not present. The one who walked under the bridge was very hairy, and Verdejo always had a clean cut. Everyone believed Cadiz when he himself admitted that he lied to everyone. For me, he is innocent, and if he was near the area, he was forced. That trial had no conclusion. It was all theories. It was an unfair death. They have to check well who it was and that they are fair in the decision. He was a promising young man. He was going to be world champion, disciplined, respectful. With me in the 7 or 8 years, he never disrespected me. Everything was positive. He was always cheerful. For you to do something like that, you have to hate someone, and that was impossible. I'd ask him to pray, to ask God to help him, and to ask God to clarify all of this because he doesn't deserve to be there. The entire trial, every night, I haven't slept well. I still don't sleep well. I didn't sleep last night. Remember that the athlete-trainer relationship was as if he were my son and I were his father. I love him very much. I'm very sorry that he's in a place that he shouldn't be.